Welcome to the archives. We like to believe that there is always a way out, that every door has a key and every maze has an exit. But what if the very space around you is a living mechanism that has no intention of letting you go? Today we are diving into a brand new collection. Traps with no escape. We've unearthed 8 films that you most likely missed, but each one is a masterpiece of psychological pressure and insane logic. We're moving beyond the obvious hits to find the truly hidden nightmares, from endless fields that bend time to clinical rooms where the laws of physics are replaced by the cruelty of human nature. In these stories, your physical strength means nothing. Here, only your imagination and your raw will to survive can keep you sane. Are you ready to test the boundaries of your reality? Then let's begin. The first door is already locking behind you. What if a simple field of greenery was actually a sentient, ancient predator that could manipulate space, time, and your very soul? Today we're stepping off the road and into the nightmare of the 2019 Stephen King adaptation, In the Tall Grass. The story begins with a pregnant woman named Becky and her brother Cal, who are driving across the country. They pull over near a massive, overgrown field of grass when they hear the desperate cries of a young boy named Tobin, calling for help from somewhere deep within the stalks. Acting on instinct, they both rush in to save him. But within seconds of entering the foliage, they lose sight of the road and each other. The logic of this trap is a terrifying distortion of non-Euclidean geometry. The grass isn't just tall. It's alive and constantly shifting. If you jump up to see the horizon, you'll find that every time you land, you are in a completely different part of the field. The grass moves people around like chess pieces on a board that never stays still. You could be standing 3 feet away from someone screaming their name, and the field will muffle your voice or stretch the distance until you are miles apart. Even worse, the field is a temporal loop. Characters find their own decaying corpses from previous cycles, realizing they have been dying and restarting this journey for what could be an eternity. At the center of this green labyrinth sits the Black Rock of the Redeemer, an ancient, pulse-beating monolith. The great deception is the lure of forbidden knowledge. The rock offers the truth to anyone who touches it, but the price is your humanity. Those who succumb, like Tobin's father Ross, become zealots of the field, believing that the only way to be saved is to be consumed by the earth. They become hunters, prowling through the stalks to force others to touch the stone. The film is a visceral, muddy descent into madness, where the sun never seems to move, and the only exit is to become part of the very soil that is trying to bury you. In the Tall Grass proves that the most beautiful natural landscapes can hide the most calculated and eternal traps. What if the job interview of your dreams was actually a death sentence designed by the government? Today we are breaking down the 2009 psychological thriller, The Killing Room. The story follows 4 strangers, 3 men and 1 woman, who have signed up for what they believe is a simple paid research study. They are led into a stark, windowless white room with no furniture other than a table and 4 chairs. They are told the study involves psychological perceptions and are handed a questionnaire. It seems like easy money, but the atmosphere is clinical, cold, and heavy with unspoken dread. The logic of the trap is revealed with shocking violence within the first 10 minutes. A high-ranking government official enters the room, asks a single question, and then calmly shoots one of the participants in the head before walking out. The remaining 3 are left trapped with a corpse, realizing they are not part of a study, they part of a modern-day revival of the MK Ultra program. The room is a high-tech pressure cooker. The doors are magnetically sealed, and the scientists behind them, one-way glass, begin to manipulate the environment. Blinding lights, deafening frequencies, and psychological taunts to see how the human mind breaks under extreme stress. The great deception is the purpose of the experiment. The participants aren't being tested for their intelligence or their survival skills. They are being groomed to see if a human being can be reprogrammed into a weapon. The government is looking for a specific type of survivor, someone who can suppress their empathy and act on pure, cold logic in the face of certain death. As the participants turn on each other, the film explores the dark philosophy of the greater good. The finale is a chilling revelation that the winner of the room hasn't earned their freedom. They have simply earned the right to be used as a tool by the state. The Killing Room is terrifying. Look at how easily we can be reduced to data points. when the people in power decide that our lives are expendable for the sake of national security. If you have ever felt the walls of a room closing in on you, this film will turn that fear into a living, breathing reality. Today, we are descending into the 2005 Japanese cult nightmare, Haze, directed by Shinya Tsukamoto, the master of industrial horror. This film is perhaps the most physically punishing entry in our collection. It begins with a man waking up in total darkness. He has no memory of how he got there, and as he tries to move, he realizes he is trapped in a concrete crawl space so narrow that he cannot even turn his head. He is bleeding from a wound in his stomach, and the only way to go is forward, deeper into a labyrinth of cold gray stone. The logic of Haze is pure, unadulterated claustrophobia. There are no supernatural monsters here. The antagonist is the architecture itself. The protagonist is forced to shuffle his body through gaps that seem impossible for a human to fit through. The trap is designed to break the body and the spirit simultaneously. At one point, he encounters a horizontal pipe filled with jagged, rusted metal teeth, and he has to slide his teeth across them just to squeeze his head through. The sound design is a cacophony of scraping concrete and heavy breathing, making you feel every inch of skin he loses to the walls. As he crawls, he begins to see flashes of other people or parts of them stuck in similar crevices. The great deception of the film lies in its ambiguity. Is this a real underground bunker built by a sadist? Or is it a physical manifestation of the man's own internal guilt? We see glimpses of a traumatic past, suggesting that the labyrinth is a limbo or a purgatory where he must suffer for a sin he has forgotten. The narrow tunnels eventually open up into a surreal, nightmarish chamber filled with body parts, forcing him to confront the fragility of human life. Haze is a visceral, low-budget masterpiece that proves you don't need a sprawling world to create a massive sense of dread sometimes. All you need is a man and a wall that refuses to move. Mathematics is often called the universal language, but in this room, it is the only thing standing between life and a messy, synchronized death. Today, we are breaking down the 2007 Spanish thriller, Fermat's Room. Imagine receiving a mysterious invitation to a weekend retreat, promised to be a meeting of the greatest minds in the country. 4 brilliant mathematicians, each known only by a pseudonym, like Galois or Pascal, to protect their identities, arrive at a remote, isolated farmhouse. They are led into a beautifully furnished, elegant library by their host, a man calling himself Fermat. But the moment their host leaves the room to attend to an emergency, the doors lock, and the real game begins. The logic of this trap is a masterpiece of mechanical engineering and intellectual pressure. A PD, a personal digital assistant in the room, begins to chime, displaying a logic puzzle. The rules are simple. They have exactly 1 minute to submit the correct answer. If they fail, or if they take too long, the walls of the room begin to move inward. The library is actually a giant, 4-sided hydraulic press. As the space shrinks, the furniture is crushed, the air becomes thin, and the 4 strangers are forced closer and closer together. They aren't just solving math problems. They are fighting for every square inch of survival as the room threatens to become a literal cube of compressed human remains. And then the walls close in, the great deception starts to unravel. The mathematicians realize they weren't chosen for their genius alone. They were chosen because they are all connected to a dark secret from the past. The puzzles aren't random. They are clues to the identity of the person who wants them dead. The film turns into a high-stakes interrogation, where the characters must solve the mystery of their own presence while their physical world literally disappears around them. The finale is a cynical revelation that even the most rational minds can be driven to savage acts when they are backed into a corner. Fermat's Room is a tense, claustrophobic journey that proves the most dangerous. Equations are the ones where the variables are human greed and revenge. What if the walls of the room weren't made of brick and mortar, but of the fractured layers of a human mind? Today we are breaking down the 2003 psychological powerhouse, Identity. The story begins with a classic setup. 10 strangers are stranded at a remote Nevada motel during a fierce, torrential rainstorm that has washed out the roads in both directions. The group includes an ex-cop turned limo driver, a high-strung actress, a prostitute looking for a new life, and a family in crisis. As the night deepens, a killer begins picking them off one by one, leaving a numbered room key next to each corpse as a countdown to the final victim. The logic of identity is a masterful exercise in misdirection. At first it feels like a standard slasher or an Agatha Christie mystery. The characters try to barricade the doors and suspect each other of being the murderer, but as the bodies start to disappear, literally vanishing into thin air after they are killed, the trapped strangers realize that the physical laws of the elder breaking down. They discover bizarre coincidences. All 10 of them share the same birthday, and they're all named after different US states. The motel isn't just a place they stumbled into, it's a stage, and they are the actors in a play they didn't write. The Great Deception is the film's legendary twist. The entire motel, the storm, and the murders are taking place inside the mind of a serial killer named Malcolm Rivers, who is undergoing a psychiatric hearing. The strangers are actually his 10 distinct split personalities. His doctor is attempting to kill us, the violent personalities, through a chemical process, leaving only one healthy identity behind to stand trial. The trap isn't the motel, the trap is the psyche of a broken man. The finale is a chilling reminder that you can never truly be safe, even in your own head, because the most dangerous version of yourself might be the and you never saw coming. Identity is a brilliant, layered puzzle that proves the most terrifying labyrinth is the human brain. What if the corporate ladder was actually a series of traps designed to strip away your humanity? Today we are breaking down the 2005 psychological thriller, The Method. The story takes place in a cold, futuristic skyscraper in Madrid, while massive anti-globalization riots rage in the streets below. 7 high-level candidates, men and 2 women, arrive for a final interview for a prestigious executive position at a mysterious corporation. They are led into a sleek, windowless boardroom and told they will be undergoing the Grinholm method, a specialized secret selection process. There is no interviewer. There is only a computer screen and a series of tasks. The logic of the method is a calculated social Darwinian nightmare. The candidates are immediately told that one of them is actually an undercover mole from the company's HR department, and their first task is to identify them. From that moment on, the room becomes a paranoid vacuum. The computer issues instructions that force the candidates to eliminate each other through a series of psychological games. They must vote on who is the least competent, who has the darkest past, and who is willing to betray their morals for a salary. The doors are locked, the phones are confiscated, and the tension of the riots outside begins to mirror the savagery inside the room. The Great Deception is the realization that the company isn't looking for the most talented person, they are looking for the most obedient and ruthless one. As the candidates turn on each other, revealing secrets of infidelity, political corruption, and cowardice, they realize they are trapped in a mirror of the corporate world itself. The mole is a ghost, a tool used to trigger their deepest insecurities. The finale is a chilling look at the winner, who realizes that to get the job, they had to destroy every part of themselves that made them human. The Method is a sharp, cynical critique of modern society, proving that the most effective traps are the ones we walk into voluntarily for the sake of a career. What if the monster hunting you wasn't a ghost or a killer, but the very story you are trapped in? Today, we are breaking down the 2012 meta-horror masterpiece, Resolution. The setup feels like a gritty indie drama, Michael. A graphic designer travels to a crumbling cabin on an Indian reservation to save his best friend, Chris, who has hit rock bottom with a severe drug addiction. Michael's plan is simple. He handcuffs Chris to a metal pipe and vows to stay with him for 7 days until he's clean. It's a story of friendship and redemption, at least. That's what Michael thinks he's writing. The logic of this trap is metaphysical and deeply unsettling. As the days pass, Michael begins to find strange artifacts left around the cabin. Old photographs, film reels, vinyl records, and even modern digital tablets. When he plays them, he realizes they aren't random. They show footage of Michael and Chris in the cabin, often from angles that should be impossible. The trap is that they are being watched by an unseen entity, a great observer that demands a narrative. This entity doesn't want their blood. It wants a story. It communicates through the media it leaves behind, effectively editing their lives in real time. If Michael and Chris try to leave, the entity resets the timeline or shows them a preview of their own violent deaths to keep them in place. The great deception is the realization that they aren't in control of their own free will. They are characters in a script being written by a cosmic force that is icily bored. Every time they try to find a logical, real-world explanation, blaming local cults or hostile neighbors, the entity pushes back with something more impossible. The horror comes from the predictability of the ending. The entity wants a climax, and in a horror story, the climax usually involves a sacrifice. The finale is a chilling fourth wall break where the characters look directly at the camera and realize that to survive, they have to satisfy the audience's hunger for an ending. Resolution is a brilliant, brain-melting exploration of the narrative trap, proving that sometimes the most terrifying prison is the one built out of plot points and expectations. What if the person who saves you is actually the one who locked the door? Today, we conclude our collection with the 2001 psychological cult classic, The Hole. The story follows 4 students from an elite British boarding school, 2 boys and 2 girls who decide to ditch a planned school trip to have a secret 3-day party in a massive, abandoned underground fallout shelter. They are led there by a social outcast named Martin, who promises to unlock the heavy steel hatch and let them out 72 hours later. It's supposed to be the ultimate rebellious weekend. No parents, no teachers, just music and freedom in a concrete bunker deep beneath the earth. The logic of this trap is a slow, agonizing descent into primal survival. When the 3 days pass and Martin doesn't return to open the hatch, the party turns into a tomb. The bunker is airtight, the food is running low, and the psychological pressure cooker begins to explode. The 4 friends, once obsessed with status and romance, are reduced to starving animals. They begin to turn on each other in the dark, and the film doesn't shy away from the horrific physical reality of being buried alive. The silence of the bunker is broken only by their screams and the sound of the heavy, immovable wheel of the hatch. The great deception is the film's brilliant, Rashomon style of storytelling. We see the events twice, once through the eyes of the only survivor, Liz, as she tells her story to a police psychologist, and then again as the true events are revealed. 8 films. 8 different ways to make you question reality. We've seen how tall grass can swallow your time, how a beach can steal your life, and how a bunker can reveal the blackest parts of your soul. These stories remind us, sometimes the scariest trap isn't a locked door, but our own consciousness refusing to see the truth. Thank you for spending this time in the archives. Which of these movies made you feel truly claustrophobic? Let me know in the comments which trap you definitely wouldn't have survived. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed these deep dives. And subscribe, we have many more closed doors to open. These were the archives. Stay safe and always check if the door opens from your side. See you next time.